In Formula 1, the final laps are the business end of races, where points are won and lost. And who better to show us how it's done than Max Verstappen, a multiple world champion with plenty of last lap heroics. From his heart-stopping triumph at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix to the photo finish at the 2023 Dutch Grand Prix, here are 9 incredible last lap Verstappen battles that will leave you at the edge of your seat. 2015 United States Grand Prix. On the 23rd of October 2015, Hurricane Patricia struck Mexico, and sure enough, her presence was felt across the entire Americas, including the United States, where the US Grand Prix was billed to take place. As rain and ominous clouds dominated the skies on both Friday and Saturday, qualifying was postponed until Sunday morning, and even then, only 2 sessions were successfully held, with Max Verstappen lining up his Toro Rosso in 8th. Verstappen's time in qualifiers put him 3 places behind Sergio Perez, who eventually turned out to be his biggest challenger during the race. Perez maintained his qualifying lead over Verstappen from the moment the lights went out until lap 20. Then, a remarkable surge propelled the Dutchman to 6th place, creating a gap between himself and Perez, who slipped to 8th. However, Perez's resurgence saw him reclaim 5th position by lap 49, just as Verstappen secured 4th, intensifying the battle. With each corner, Perez applied relentless pressure on Verstappen, setting the scene for a gripping final lap duel. Tyres screeched and positions teetered on the brink, but in a breathtaking finish, Verstappen narrowly held off Perez by a mere 2 seconds to secure 4th place. 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. Now, the 2016 F1 season witnessed Max Verstappen's meteoric rise from Toro Rosso to Red Bull after just 4 races. Despite the sudden transition, Verstappen showcased his raw talent in qualifying, securing an impressive P4 on the grid, trailing only Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo. As the lights went out, the race burst into action with dramatic flair. Hamilton's attempted overtake on Rosberg at turn 3 resulted in chaos, sending both Mercedes drivers out of contention. Seizing this golden opportunity, Ricciardo and Verstappen surged to the front, occupying P1 and P2 respectively. This order was switched multiple times until Verstappen locked down P1 in lap 44. As the race wore on, Kimi Raikkonen found his way to P2 and started mounting pressure on Verstappen. Boosted by DRS, the Ferrari racer closed the gap between himself and Verstappen to 0.7 seconds with 12 laps to go. Seeing that the young Red Bull debutant was shaken, Raikkonen pushed further, reducing the deficit by a few tenths of a second in the final lap. But it wasn't enough, as Verstappen held on tight to squeeze through the finish line some 0.62 seconds ahead of Raikkonen. It was a fantastic debut for the teenager, who clinched the first victory of his career and became the youngest race winner in Formula 1 history. In his post-race interview, Max Verstappen couldn't hide his excitement. "It feels amazing," young Verstappen said. "I can't believe it. It was a great race. I have to say thank you to the team to give me such a great car to win straight away in the first race. Amazing feeling." Understandably, Kimi Raikkonen wasn't too happy with the outcome of the race. "No, obviously I'm happy for Max, but disappointed for myself, but that's racing," Raikkonen said. "We have our best today after quite a difficult day yesterday and then a pretty poor start. We tried and tried. I was fast, but once I got close, I could not follow close enough through the last corners and losing downforce behind. I tried and tried, but it wasn't enough today." And with that said, please hit the like button on your screen to support our journey to become the premier F1 channel on YouTube. Now back to the video. 2018 Austrian Grand Prix. 2 years after their famous last lap battle at the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, Max Verstappen and Kimi Raikkonen would have reawakened their rivalry, but this time at the Red Bull Ring. Raikkonen got the head start after qualifying in P2, 2 places ahead of Verstappen. Come Sunday, the race witnessed some heart-stopping drama, which ultimately paved the way for another final lap classic between Verstappen and Raikkonen. Desperate to get in on the action, Sebastian Vettel closed the gap on Raikkonen, and together they joined forces to mount pressure on Verstappen. Unfortunately for them, Verstappen was in no mood to give up his place. The Dutch prodigy fought back to win the race, beating Raikkonen by 1.5 seconds and Vettel by 3.18 seconds. Reflecting on the race, Vettel hailed Verstappen's performance, saying, "I told him, very good race, very consistent, no mistakes. We were chasing him down at the end, but couldn't quite make it." Verstappen, on the other hand, revealed his struggle with tyre management during the race. Yeah, it was amazing. It was very hard to manage the tyres as well. We really had to look after them. A little blistering, but we managed to hang on until the end. Of course, it's amazing to win here with a Red Bull at the Red Bull Ring, and also so many Dutch fans around here. It's incredible. 2019 Singapore Grand Prix. Now, Verstappen came into the 2019 Singapore Grand Prix on the back of two underwhelming races in Belgium and Italy. Keen to turn his poor form around, the Red Bull driver placed his car in P4 in qualifying. On race day, he emerged from a series of early corner clashes unscathed. Subsequent collisions meant the safety car was invited onto the track 3 times. By the time the chaos drowned out, 4 drivers, including Sebastian Vettel, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, were caught in a thrilling battle for the top prize. Sandwiched in P3, Verstappen was looking to usurp Vettel and Leclerc. However, the presence of Hamilton behind him meant he needed to constantly look over his shoulders. At the end of a fierce battle where all 4 drivers gave their best, Vettel emerged as the winner, crossing the line 2.6 seconds ahead of Leclerc. Meanwhile, Verstappen finished in 3rd, beating 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton by 0.8 seconds. In the post-race interview, Verstappen was asked if there was anything he could have done to finish ahead of Vettel and Leclerc, and the Dutch racer replied with an emphatic no. Speaking further, Verstappen said, "There are a lot of things to analyse and to work on, but still happy to be in the top 3. 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix. Despite his impressive showing in previous races, Max Verstappen had an underwhelming start to the 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix weekend. The Red Bull racer qualified in P7, which is poor compared to his high standard. To make things worse, he spun into the barrier while trying to join the starting grid. At that point, it seemed like Verstappen's race was over even before it began. However, some heroic mechanical work by Red Bull engineers ensured that the Dutchman was part of the lineup when the lights went out. Verstappen quickly put his pre-race struggles behind him as he climbed up to P3 with Lewis Hamilton and Lance Stroll in his sights. By lap 5, he moved up to 2nd after passing Stroll in the pit stops, and from then on, he chased down Lewis Hamilton, who was in P1. After several laps of chasing Hamilton with no success, Verstappen decided to settle for P2, but Valtteri Bottas was breathing down his neck. With Bottas closing in fast, Verstappen executed some smart defensive maneuvers to maintain his position, and despite driving on worn tyres, he successfully fended off Bottas, crossing the finish line 0.7 seconds ahead of the Mercedes driver. 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is one of the most defining moments of Verstappen's career, especially because of the way he turned P2 to P1 in the last lap of this high-stakes race. With pole position in the bag, Verstappen had the advantage going into Sunday, but when the lights went out, Lewis Hamilton reacted quickly to snatch the lead from his title rival. From then on, the intensity of the race cooled off, as it became apparent that Lewis Hamilton was heading for victory. In fact, team boss Christian Horner famously admitted that Red Bull would need a miracle to dethrone Hamilton from the lead. Moments later, that miracle arrived in the form of a safety car after Nicholas Latifi crashed into the barrier. With fears that the race might end behind the safety car, Mercedes refused to call Hamilton into the pit, a decision that proved to be the turning point in the race. In contrast, Verstappen hurried into the pit lane and emerged with soft tyres as the race entered its last lap. Aided by his new compounds, the Dutchman breezed past Hamilton at turn 5 to seize the lead. The British racer fiercely retaliated on the straight as he tried to reclaim the position. However, Verstappen held firm, skillfully fending off Hamilton's advances to clinch both the race victory and his maiden Formula 1 championship. The Red Bull driver couldn't hold back the tears as he marvelled at the scale of the significant achievement. It's unbelievable. I mean, throughout the whole race, I kept fighting, and then of course that opportunity on the last, it's incredible, Verstappen said. I'm still having a cramp, but it's insane. It's insane. I don't know what to say. These guys here, my team, and of course Honda, they deserve it. I love them so much. I really enjoy working with them already since 2016, but this year has been incredible. 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Now, in just the second race of the 2022 F1 season, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix produced a spectacle. And just like the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, there was plenty of safety car drama to savour as well. Despite qualifying in P4, Verstappen's pace was blistering on Sunday. As the race progressed, he caught up with Charles Leclerc, who was in P1, and by lap 47, he left the Ferrari driver in his wake. Desperate to reclaim the position, Leclerc chased down Verstappen. Once he was close enough, he probed at every corner looking for space to overtake. And just when he thought he had found a gap, the checkered flag came to Verstappen's rescue. With just 0.5 seconds between P1 and P2, this was a victory of small margins and definitely one of the toughest races Verstappen would ever experience in his career. "I know it was really tough," Verstappen explained, "but a good race. We were battling hard at the front, but we just tried to play the long game. They were really quick through corners. We were quick on the straights." 2023 British Grand Prix. After securing pole position in qualifying, Max Verstappen was considered the overwhelming favourite at the 2023 British Grand Prix. However, any suggestion of an easy cruise to victory was banished as soon as the lights went out. The Red Bull racer was beaten to the first corner by McLaren's Lando Norris, who had qualified in P2. Having seen his teammate drift past Verstappen, Oscar Piastri attempted to do the same, but the Red Bull driver rebuffed his attempts. However, he continued to struggle until the 5th lap when he found his groove. Within a twinkle of an eye, Verstappen ousted Norris from P1. As expected, the British driver put up a defiant challenge in a bid to take back the position, but Max Verstappen was too quick for him. The Red Bull driver took the checkered flag in P1 with a slim margin of 3.7 seconds. "Of course, very happy that we won again," Verstappen said. 11 wins in a row for the team. I think that's pretty incredible, but that wasn't straightforward today. 2023 Netherlands Grand Prix. Max Verstappen's homecoming race for the 2023 F1 season was a thing of beauty. As expected, a huge crowd camped around the track in anticipation of a Verstappen victory, and in the end, they got their wish. But torrential rain and some impressive display by Fernando Alonso made sure it wasn't a drama-free victory. Despite qualifying in pole position, Verstappen found himself in the second row as early as the 4th lap. The Dutchman improved quickly to reach P2 by lap 12 and P1 just 2 laps later. From there, he led the race, with Sergio Perez shielding him from Alonso and the rest of the chasing pack. The status quo behind Verstappen changed a few times until Fernando Alonso made a mighty effort to drag his Aston Martin into P2. All of a sudden, what looked like a comfortable cruise quickly became an epic battle. Alonso tried a couple of moves from his old bag of tricks as he looked to dislodge Verstappen from P1, but it wasn't to be. The Dutchman produced a defensive masterclass to win the race as the crowd cheered on. Fernando Alonso arrived 3.7 seconds later to secure a P2 finish and a Driver of the Day award for his troubles. "It's incredible. Also today, they didn't make it easy for us with the weather to make all the time the right calls. I'm incredibly proud," Verstappen said. And yeah, Fernando was pushing very hard behind and I could see him close in my mirrors, but once I had the temperature in my tyres, it was all well balanced again. Verstappen's performances in these last lap battles highlights his status as the best driver on the grid, and indeed as one of the greatest racers in F1 history. And that's why it's strange that some people still find a reason to hate him. But who are these people, and what exactly are they saying about Verstappen? Click this video to find out.